Hey guys, it's Laura Madrigano from Heal SVT Naturally, and today I want to talk to you about sugar. So I posted in the Facebook group yesterday, and a lot of people have questions about sugar, and I don't blame you, because sugar is really like one of the number one things that I was completely addicted to when I was suffering with SVT and all of my co-symptoms when I was just starting out, figuring out, what to do to heal my SVT naturally. So I completely understand that sugar is like a major problem for a lot of people. And, it's a highly addictive substance. We've all been eating it our whole lives since we're kids, and getting sugar out of your life to a huge degree is going to help you heal your SVT naturally, almost maybe more than everything else combined. So I mean, that's a huge statement I'm making, but it's a big one. And it's one that I haven't really driven this point home. In fact, I think most people think gluten-free is the number one thing, just because it's just of course, gluten is a big one. And I do think a lot of people with SVT have undiagnosed food allergies and sensitivities. And, that is one of the major principles of my theory and the SVT-Gut connection. But sugar is a major factor. And if you have not begun to address the sugar in your life, and yet, you're trying all of these other things, you're adding in magnesium, or you're, doing different supplements, or you're changing your diet a little bit. If you haven't addressed sugar, you are fighting an uphill battle. So that's the first thing that I just want to say. So I'm going to refer in this video to my phone, which has my notes from the SVT prevention diet, because I cover this topic of sugar for almost 11 pages in the guide. That's how important it is. So one of the first things that I want to cover is, what am I talking about when it comes to sugar? So what do I mean when I say you need to cut the sugar in your diet? So I'm talking about white sugar, processed white, regular old sugar. So white sugar and all of its derivatives, brown sugar, artificial sweeteners. So anything like aspartame, fake sugars in general, saccharin, all of that kind of stuff. I also am talking about high fructose corn syrup, fructose in general, and then sucralose and any sugar that ends in OSE. So every time you read a label, anything that ends in OSE is a sugar, and it's a fake sugar, and I want that to get out of your diet. Okay, so then the sugars, well, what kind of sugar can you have when I talk about natural sugars, natural sweeteners? So these are the ones that you can say yes to. Yes to local raw honey, for sure. Loaded with potassium and minerals. I'm a big fan of honey. Okay, Manuka honey, pure maple syrup, agave date syrup. Now, I just want to be clear. Those are things that are going to be in total moderation, and they're going to be based on your current situation. So if you're not a client, it's going to be hard for me to really, really advise you. You're going to have to tweak this, using your own judgment. But, and again, if you're in majorly an acute phase of SVT, you probably can't have, maybe maple syrup or something. But for me and for the average person that has their SVT completely under control, you can enjoy all of these things in moderation. Okay, so I said date syrup, dates, date sugar, coconut palm sugar, maple sugar crystals, Lancanto monk fruit sweetener, blackstrap molasses, cinnamon, coconut flesh, whole fruits, and root vegetables. So those are all the sweets that you can say yes to. Okay, everyone, so just a couple of things that I want to highlight to you about why sugar is so bad, and also, fake sugars too. So a lot of people don't realize this, but aspartame is an additive that's in a lot of foods, especially a food that says low sugar or no sugar or sugar-free, usually has something like aspartame. And I just, I'm going to read this to you from the SVT prevention diet, but this is some research that I did about aspartame. So aspartame was denied approval by the FDA for over 8 years. Can you believe that? Because it was considered a risk to human health. Among the risks is that it does not digest, enters the human brain and central nervous system, right? Which we're always talking about. You want to engage the parasympathetic nervous system when your central nervous system is affected. Your and stressed, you're more likely to have an SVT. Okay, but that can result in a number of problems such as seizures, anxiety, palpitations specifically, and also impaired vision. So really that aspartame has to go. Okay, now the next thing that I want to cover is about how sugar depletes your magnesium. So we all know that one of the biggest things that we talk about in the Heal SVT Naturally Facebook group is magnesium. People want to add in magnesium as a supplement into their diet all the time, and I'm a big fan of that. I think, adding in magnesium is fantastic. I take magnesium almost every single day for like 10 years now, and I swear by it. But maybe you don't even realize that if you have not eliminated sugar, you're just like on a hamster wheel, because every time you eat sugar, you are literally depleting your magnesium just to digest it. I want to announce that with a bullhorn because people just do not understand. So let me read you a couple of excerpts again from the SVT prevention diet. Magnesium obviously is a very important part of mineral balance required for SVT prevention. However, most people don't know which foods supply it, how to know if you are depleted in it, and what actions to take to restore balance. So this is interesting. Magnesium is a macro mineral that impacts the function of every organ system in the body, especially your heart. Magnesium is one of the 6 essential minerals that must be supplied in the diet, as you cannot manufacture it on your own. So did you know that? I didn't know that when I was writing this book. Okay, so magnesium, of course, helps keep the heart rhythm steady, and without sufficient magnesium stores, you can experience a range of symptoms, including fatigue, insomnia, irritability, brain fog, high blood pressure, restless leg syndrome, muscle twitches, and irregular heartbeats. So we know how important magnesium is, and this video is about sugar, but the main point I want to get across here is that you are depleting, your body literally uses up your stores of magnesium to digest sugar. So every time you eat sugar, you're being completely counterproductive. Okay, the next major complaint I hear from people all the time, including myself, is hormones. How, especially for the ladies out there, for the moms, for the women, we all know that we get SVTs when we have our menstrual cycle, when we are perimenopausal or in menopause. Your SVT is totally crazy, and that's because your hormones impact your propensity for SVT. And so just here's a little bit about sugar and hormones also from the guide. So stabilizing hormones is another goal for SVT prevention. I mean, this is a major factor. In fact, I have next week's blog post is going to be about hormone balance, nutrition, and SVT. Okay, so when you bite into sugar, your blood sugar soars. To stabilize it, your pancreas releases insulin. Once the sugar has been metabolized, excess insulin remains and causes imbalances in your hormones and stores fat. This creates chaotic hormonal balance. So, sugar is affecting your hormones. So again, if you're suffering from hormone imbalance or problems with your SVT around your cycle, sugar, you need to look at your sugar intake. So there's a little bit more there on hormones, but like I said, I'm also going to be posting a blog post on that. So the next thing that I want to talk to you all about, which is what the Facebook post was about this week, what are you struggling with sugar and what to do about it. So I think I've covered so far, what sugar I'm talking about, why it's so bad for you. But, now let's talk about, let's be realistic. What are you going to do about it? People are obsessed with sugar. You don't want to give up your sweet treats or whatever you're relying on. Also, this gets further complicated if you are have an emotional eating issue or any kind of eating disorder. But if you are relying on food for relief, which I totally was, so no, I'm not judging you. I'm just saying, we're using food and sugar a lot of times for relaxation, to like numb ourselves out. And there's a lot to be said on that topic. So I'm just going to cover some basic ways now to help you deal with this, deal with your sugar addiction and how to get off sugar. I want to be realistic, because if you're not realistic, it's not going to work. So let's be realistic. It's not realistic for you to stop watching this video and never eat sugar again. So what is realistic? I think that the first thing I would recommend is committing to not having sugar for breakfast. So no more sugar for breakfast. It sets your body up for, issues throughout the day. Think about having a protein-based breakfast. So right now, if you're having sugary cereals, granola bars, pancakes, waffles, toast, all of that kind of stuff for breakfast, just think about starting off with a better breakfast and getting sugar out of your diet first thing in the morning. So that's a good place to start. That's one tip that I have. And of course, I have a ton of suggestions for healthy breakfast rotations in the e-guide, and I'll talk more about that in general, but just as tip number one, start off small and just get sugar out of your diet for breakfast. Okay, that's the first thing. The second thing is I want you to learn how to make a healthy sweet treat that you can have, that you're allowed to have. We are allowed to have sweets in life. You can have anything of any one of those ingredients I mentioned. Plus, I made some other notes here, which are things like you can have nut butters. Those are sweet. Almond butter. I'm a big fan of almond butter. Not a huge fan of peanut butter, but that's for different reasons. But if you have not tried almond butter yet, here's a great idea for a healthy sweet snack. Some apples with some almond butter and a little tiny drizzle of honey on top, and then throw in some chia seeds. So it's not that you can never have a sweet treat again. It's just that you have to learn how to have sweet treats that aren't going to mess with your blood sugar and that can satisfy you and not put you in depletion mode, which is what sugar does. Okay, so I want you to think about learning how to make one or two sweet treats that can replace whatever it is that you're currently eating. So for me, I'll use myself as an example. I had to have chocolate chip cookies every single day, whether it was like Entenmann's from the box or whatever, chocolate chip cookies. So it was crucial for me to learn how to make a naturally gluten-free, sugar-free chocolate chip cookie. And there are so many versions of them out there that I can't even begin to tell you, but they're out there. So especially nowadays, there's so many blogs, there's so many people on Instagram making like ridiculous, delicious sweet treats, and they're really not that hard to do. I have a lot of recipes posted on the website, but that's just a prime example. So if you love a cookie, or if you love a cupcake, or if you love a muffin, figure out what you love and then look at the ingredients. Replace. So the first thing you can do is just replace all that flour with a healthier flour. So examples are almond flour, love it. Brown rice flour, if that's okay with you, that's gluten-free. They do make gluten-free flour blends, but I'd like you to stick with more of like, they even make cauliflower flour now. Did you know that? That's crazy. Okay, so start off with maybe like an almond flour. So you want to bake a cookie with almond flour, some kind of a nut butter, like a tahini or almond butter. You could try cashew butter. You could try sun butter. You can use that for your butter. You can use a coconut oil, and then for the sweetener, you can add in things like honey. You can add in banana and mash that up. So you want to get like really creative, and don't be afraid to try some new things. You can use dates. So, you can make brownies, for example. You could do black bean brownies with dates and a little bit of coconut palm sugar. You can do cookies, like I keep saying, with almond butter, coconut oil, even a little bit of maple syrup. So you're going to have to learn how to play around with your recipes. And I have to tell you that once you figure out recipes that you actually love, you're going to be like, oh my God, why didn't I try this sooner? Why have I been eating this junk when I'm so much more satisfied? I don't feel guilty. This tastes delicious. It doesn't constipate me. It's not robbing my body of magnesium. So this is where I'm going to, sort of steer you. And I'll post some links below this video of some recipes that can help guide you. The other thing that I want to say that's super obvious is, are you eating 3 fruits a day? So if you're having sugar cravings, ask yourself, have I had fruit yet today? Have you had a piece of fruit? Fruit is going to naturally satisfy your sugar cravings. So you want to look at your fruit. You can have, I'm a big fan of a banana a day. Get that potassium in. Of course, mix it with a protein, fat, fiber, protein. If you read my e-guide, you know that that's the way I like to eat. Fat, fiber, protein, winning combination. Learn more about that in the SVT prevention diet. But have your banana, have an apple. You can have raisins. You can have, anything all summer long. I have watermelon, I have peaches. Blueberries is a great fruit. Cherries go in my smoothie every day. So increase your fruit. Now, of course, if you have diabetes, then you have to make sure you're having low glycemic fruits, but this is for the average person. Advice for the average person. Get your fruits in, get those antioxidants in. Okay, then super simple, drink water. If you are craving sugar, it's probably because you're tired and dehydrated. So those are the first 2 things to look at. Consider drinking water and consider just closing your eyes for 5 minutes. You don't have to go take a 3-hour nap, but just rest. So a lot of times sugar cravings are just you're tired and you're ignoring your cues for what your body needs, which is a whole other video, because many times SVT is about ignoring your body's needs. So I want you to look at that. Sugar cravings can be from not having enough healthy fats in your diet. Another topic I cover at length in the guide. So you want to increase those healthy fats. Healthy fats are things like, avocados, coconut oil can be a healthy fat. So every time you eat, you want to think about having, olive oil is a healthy fat. So you want to think about always having fat, which is a healthy fat, fiber, and protein at every meal. So, again, just think about if you're craving sugar, did you have any healthy fats? Are you getting your omega-3s in? And last but not least, and I mentioned this a little bit, our emotions and stress drive up our sugar cravings like crazy. So you need to think about other types of self-care that can help you with that. And, I'm a big fan of journaling. I'm a huge fan of stretching, walking, doing like really gentle exercise. So to really, really get your sugar under control, you're going to really have to think about lifestyle changes. You're going to have to think about replacing recipes. You're going to have to think about increasing your self-care, increasing your water intake, and, and listening to your body. So I hope that these tips and this video get you started on the path to really realizing that sugar is a major problem. It has to go. And P.S., it's making you even more tired than you already are. So it's like sort of like feeding, what is that expression when you're like feeding the dragon? Is that what it's called? When you're just like, you're propelling the situation, you're making it worse. So I guarantee you, once you start to cut the sugar out of your diet, you're going to have more energy, you're going to have more time to accomplish your goals. And that in and of itself is going to make you feel better and help you reduce your stress. So please leave any comments below, any questions. I welcome them. I hope this answered some of your questions, and I'm here for you. I'm here to help you learn how to heal your SVT naturally and prevent SVT. I hope you're using all my resources. Go to my website, healsvtnaturally.com. Read my blogs, they're free. Join the Facebook group, it's free. And this year, 2020, I will be putting out my Heal SVT Naturally protocol, which is going to be an online course, which is going to take everybody through. I think it's going to be about 10 steps, 10 things, 10 ways to heal your SVT naturally. Okay, everyone, thanks for listening.